Hello, Libra, and welcome to your September 2017 tarot card reading. I can't believe we're here. So I have. Oh, thank you so much for your comments and your likes and your subscriptions. Um, but your comments have been so sweet, um, and I just love them so much. I'm trying to hold myself back from going on and on and on about it every single reading, but just thank you. And I love replying, and I love hitting those little love buttons, and so thank you. Okay, so what I've been doing for the last for the mid-August readings, and I'm going to continue because you all liked it, is just drawing an animal card and reading it from the book. Now it's interesting because this week, or this reading, for this September reading, you had a couple cards come out. So this is your main card, and this is what I'm going to read. Just the elephant and the unicorn wanted to pop out for you as well as sort of this supportive energy. But I always look at these animal cards as like an umbrella of sort of like a thematic energy for the entire reading. So what wanted to come out today, big time for you, was butterfly. And I feel like you've gotten this card before. And this butterfly, it's air. It is like, it's absolutely this very Libran energy as it is. So here we go. Let me go ahead and read this. The butterfly. It's undergoing great change and transformation. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. And I feel for many of you it is. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon. Committing to one daily routine, a meal, a practice, or prayer, done at the same place and time, will do wonders for lifting a butterfly spirit. So when in balance, butterfly energy is cheerful and graceful. And when out of balance, the butterfly energy is fragile and frustrated. And to bring into balance, daily routine. So Libra, also check out if this is your sun sign, check out your rising and moon sign, because these readings are so general. If you can sort of listen to the other, listen to sort of all three of those, your sun, rising, and moon, it'll help you piece together the most specific reading you can get for yourself. Let me just see here. So, when I was meditating on your sign, there are a couple things that came up, and I wrote them down. So what I heard was taking up the stick, and it felt like it was a visual, and it was sort of just picking up the stick, taking up the stick, and it was like a wand, but it felt like a work tool or some sort of challenge, like this stepping up to the plate this month, this rising up to the challenge energy. So that came up very strong for you. And then we have this unbelievable butterfly transformation energy that was so directly supported by the unicorn, this magical energy that's asking you to believe in yourself, to look at your beliefs, and then with this elephant energy. So I do feel like there's so much fire. We're moving through this new moon in Leo, solar eclipse. We're in eclipse season. We're in Mercury retrograde. We have this full moon on September 6th in Pisces. And overall, we're coming through this, like we have a lot of fire energy that has just burned away all of this excess stuff. But you can see here, it's saying for you guys in September, it's saying you can break through anything. So if there's any discomfort that you do experience as you're transforming, as you're elevating, um, you still sort of are working with this practiced fire energy of sort of letting, like, moving through it with so much grace, and I feel like you feel like there's you're a bit more practiced at letting sort of what's no longer serving you burn away. So I do feel like there's this. I'm not going to say effortless, but a more sort of um, a more sort of a more effortless, I'll say, a less effortful ability to in sort of in sort of making breakthroughs and breaking through walls. And it's interesting because we are in Mercury retrograde, but more so than usual, I'm sort of feeling this like this challenge in articulating what I want to say, and sort of so this stuttering kind of energy. So this communication, this sort of processing thing that I'm experiencing, which is sort of interesting. So sort of take it for what it is. Then we have the Ace of Swords. So let's just keep these three here as this umbrella energy, this sort of thematic supportive energy that we're looking at as we're coming into these first couple weeks of September. And we're also in September, we're coming into Libra sign. So there is this homecoming energy. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords. We have the Mother of Pentacles. We have the Two of Swords, and I believe Taurus got this as well. We have the Five of Cups. We have the Tower reversed. I just got this sense of that there is this piecing something back together. So it's almost like there was something that was kind of broken that you're now piecing back together. There was this shakeup, and now you're sort of you're reconfiguring things. We have the Strength card reversed, and then we have the Five of Pentacles. And yeah, Taurus had, so you've got a couple fives here, and Taurus had the same thing. And Taurus also had this card, and then also the two. So maybe check that out and see if that's helpful for you, or if Taurus is your rising or your moon sign. Check that out for sure. Okay. So yeah, there's this cutting through, and also this almost reminds me of like Excalibur, sort of this taking up the sword. So there's this I just heard taking charge. So there's this sense that you're taking charge of something, and I heard what's not defined, you're bringing definition to something. And as you bring definition to something, it's interesting, this idea of taking up the sword and then setting something down. They're setting something down. So it's almost this, it's this energy of, it's this compartmentalizing that's happening, that you're doing. So it feels like there's this compartmentalizing. And this feels like I want to say a character. And for many of you, I want to say a character in your workspace. but this could also be you. And it might be even sort of looking how you show up in your, how you show up in relation to your resources, and also how there's this sort of focus on how you show up for those you hold most dear. And there's this bridging of those two. So there's this bridging of, I would not want to say there's this bridging of worlds. So there's bringing sort of, it's almost, you know, what was compartmentalized. There is sort of this, and it almost feels like there might be some tension here around, you know, sort of taking what has been compartmentalized and what you usually compartmentalize, your work, your home, your friends, your this. And there is this intertwining, I get this intermingling feeling, and this bridging of these different aspects of your life or what you have going on, and there's just some sort of them all kind of coming together or interweaving or blending together, or almost just being kind of put together. So there's a bit of that sensation. September, Libra. And I'm getting this question of judgment, of sort of, it's almost as though you're being asked to make some sort of decision, to be the decision maker, and to, I just heard, pass some sort of judgment, just judgment. And the Justice card, it is it is Libra's card, but it's coming up strongly around this Two of Swords for you. Something about judgment. Passing just judgment. So justice. I just heard with this card, I heard an allocating of funds. Allocating of funds. Let's see. Let's look a few more here and see what we find. And around this card, it feels like the Five of Cups, you know, that speaks to our emotions, and there's a sense of this, for you guys specifically, it's feeling this, it feels like this strong, reflective energy. And there's this stirring of the emotions, and it's around, it's around belief in yourself. So again, it's even right under the unicorn card. So we have this, in this mirroring happening of like asking you to look at the beliefs you have about yourself. And there's this like, this real look at whatever beliefs you have about yourself. There's this need to really look at it. Because it's almost this sense that there's somewhere where you're selling yourself short. And you're very consciously feeling the need to, again, going back to this sense of definition and redefining something for yourself, you know, also this like looking at these definitions that you have about yourself. These definitions that no longer serve you, that are supporting perhaps beliefs that you need to let go of. So this is really asking you to look at your definitions, looking at the definitions you have in your life. And most importantly, there's a focus on the definitions you have about yourself. So we have Temperance, Sagittarius' card. And then we have the Sun of Wands. We have the Mother of Wands. And then the Nine of Swords. We have the Six of Wands, and then the Hangman reversed. So you're really looking for the win here. You're looking for the win. It's almost like you're looking for your way in. You're looking for the win. And there's this something, you know, there's this, I just heard longevity. So, and legacy, longevity and legacy. So it's like there's this wanting to create something, this sense of like, almost like racking your brain to sort of create something that, that will sustain you through the long haul. And that you can pass down, perhaps. But this is sort of looking at, you know, like what it's all worth, like creating something of worth, really looking at like, I want to create something that is really worth something. And there's this feeling of like trying to figure out, almost like really looking at what matters, really sort of saying, well, what will really be worth something to me? What really matters to me? And this feels like a dissolution of some sort of relationship, of some sort of yeah, it feels like there's this dissolution of some sort of, I just heard contract. There's this sense of this, something that you have at one point sort of, you were committed to. There's this, I just heard even almost resignation, I just heard. So resignation, this allowing to, it's almost like there's a sense that something started. There was a start of something, and that whatever this is, it calls for a lot of commitment, and it's almost like there's this, and it does feel like contractual. It feels binding. It feels something that is calling for commitment, dedication. And there's this, it feels, it almost like there's this not panning out. Like there's something that you're like, okay, I'm going to let this, I'm going to let this dissolve. I'm going to let this dissolve. And then we have here this going for this win here. This really, your eye is on the ball. And I'm also looking here at the elephant, the strong elephant energy. This is very connected to this here. that you're really zeroing in on something of that's really inspiring and is really deeply connected to that ambitious fire within you. It's like lighting this fire in you, and you're going for the win. Oops. There we go. So we have the Hermit reversed right next to the Eight of Pentacles reversed. And then we have the Lovers reversed. So there's this pulling in of, I heard resources, even this sense of like tightening the reins on your resources. And I feel like this is, for many of you, it feels like joint resources that that sustain both you and others. And so there is this sense of pulling in, and again, sort of that reallocating, that allocation, reallocating. So there is this sort of reallocating of funds, and that's also similar to Taurus. There's this sort of reallocating of funds, it feels, and this pulling in, reallocate of resources, and working with the books. So it's like the working with the books, I just heard. And I'm getting this, there's this, in working with these other people or in relationship, there is this sort of, it almost feels like this dizzying effect, I want to say, a dizzying effect of, and this sort of, it's almost like there's a lot of like busyness or relationships sort of coming in and out, and it's sort of saying that I'm sort of looking at this focal point here, and there's this feeling of really because there's so much coming in during this time for you, and there's so much creative creative energy, and I also feel like there are a lot of places that are sort of asking for you for your energy. There's a sort of pulling at wanting your attention. That it really is sort of saying, it's saying set those focal points for yourself to the best of your ability. And I also get the sense that there could be those core relationships that during this time can serve as those anchors for you. I feel like there's this anchoring energy with the relationships in your life as you sort of do, sort of working these different compartments or sort of are doing these different things and have a lot of sort of irons in the fire, that there is a sense that relationship, your core relationships can really serve as anchors for you right now. And allowing your relationships to be anchors for you. So we have the Mother of Swords reversed, right next to the Magician, the Five of Swords, the Seven of Swords. Here we go. Your card. Justice. And then the Two of Wands reversed. So there's this sense of like, so your mind, you're really that sharp, quick thinking, around sort of these little bits and pieces, these little sort of troubleshooting that's taking place, and I feel like it's kind of it's almost like clearing out the dust bunnies. It's like and again when it's back to the books or sort of looking at funds, looking at finances, and resources, you're sort of, there's this looking for where you can sort of tighten the reins, where you can sort of stop any leakage. Oftentimes with this, it feels like a resource of some kind is leaking somewhere, to where you are in sort of this you're addressing something that feels that feels unseen. And again, we have it feels like this compartmentalizing energy here. And again, with this one, I just heard tightening your belt. So yeah, there is sort of like this in September, this sort of looking at bills and resources and tightening your belt. Okay, yeah, it's interpret that, use your intuition and interpret any of this, however works for you. Again, super, super general. So do check out your other signs. That'll be really, really helpful. I just heard resourcefulness. So I think it's also speaking to like a resourcefulness. There's this, and with this magician strongly, it's saying be resourceful, be resourceful. Now's the time to be as resourceful as you can be. Because it's almost like the image I just got was like a spaceship, or if like a boat's a little too heavy, needing to sort of throw things overboard to lighten the load so you can pick up speed. So there is that sort of sensation. And again, we can also be lightening loads with the, sort of our beliefs and what we think about ourselves. So yes, okay. Well, there's a lot going on for you. And I hope that this was helpful. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I will check in with you in the next couple of weeks with your mid-September readings, and maybe even a surprise reading at some point for the full moon. So we'll see. But I love you so much, and I hope that this was helpful. And I love, 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 love you. Love you.